In 2017, something unbelievable went viral on social media. A video showed tens of thousands of people gathered in Fatima, Portugal, staring up at the sky. Some swore the sun was spinning, changing colors, even dancing. Photos and clips spread online. Skeptics mocked it, believers defended it, and people asked, did a miracle really happen? This wasn't the first time. Back in 1917, in the very same place, newspapers all across Europe reported on the so-called miracle of the sun. Even atheists who were present admitted they couldn't explain it. But here's the conflict. Some people see these events and say, proof. God is real. Mary is real. Miracles happen. Others look at the same footage and say, nope, optical illusion, mass hysteria. Nothing more. Therefore, the question we have to ask is this. How do Catholics actually understand miracles and apparitions? Are they just nice legends? Or do they really tell us something about God breaking into human history? Maybe you've had this experience too. You scroll through Facebook or TikTok and stumble on a story about someone healed at Lourdes or a mysterious apparition of the Virgin Mary. And you probably had one of two reactions. Either, wow, that's amazing, or come on, that can't be real. I get it. Honestly, I used to be skeptical too. I thought, why would God show up in one little village in France, but not solve all the world's problems at once? But when I started digging into what the church actually teaches, my perspective totally changed. Here's the surprising truth. The Catholic Church is actually very cautious about miracles and apparitions. People often think Catholics just accept every story of a bleeding statue or a glowing figure in the sky. That's not true. The Church investigates, carefully, for years, sometimes even decades. Out of thousands of reported apparitions, only a tiny fraction have ever been officially approved, like Lourdes in France, Fatima in Portugal, and Guadalupe in Mexico. But why approve some and not others? Because the Church looks for three things. Is the message consistent with the gospel? Is there real evidence, like healings that doctors can't explain? Does the event lead people closer to Christ, not away from him? Therefore, when the Church finally says, yes, this apparition is worthy of belief, it's not blind faith. It's after long, careful study. Take Lourdes, for example. Since 1858, millions of pilgrims have gone there. Thousands claim healings. And here's the crazy part. There's actually a medical bureau in Lourdes run by doctors and scientists, many of whom aren't even Catholic. Out of over 7,000 reported healings, only 70 have been declared miraculous after exhaustive scientific investigation. But that's the point. The Church doesn't rush to call something a miracle. It waits until no other natural explanation can be found. Therefore, when a healing is finally approved, even skeptics are left scratching their heads. If you're Catholic, maybe you already believe these things are true. But let me challenge you. Have you ever actually read the testimonies? Have you looked at the medical records? Because believing blindly is not what the Church asks of us. Faith seeks understanding. And if you're Protestant or skeptical, maybe you think Catholics are being superstitious. But can you explain away thousands of eyewitnesses at Fatima or the confirmed medical healings at Lourdes? Dismissing them doesn't make the evidence disappear. Therefore, both sides are faced with the same uncomfortable reality. Either something extraordinary is happening, or thousands of people, including scientists, doctors, and journalists, are all lying or hallucinating. So what's the point of all this? Miracles and apparitions aren't about showing off. They're not divine fireworks just to impress people. They're reminders that God is still active in history. Reminders that Mary, the mother of Jesus, still cares for her children. But here's the most important part. Catholics are never required to believe in any apparition, even the approved ones. You don't have to believe in Lourdes or Fatima to be a faithful Catholic. Therefore, the real question isn't, do you believe this specific apparition? The real question is, do you believe that God can still break into our world? Do you believe he still heals, still calls, still works wonders today? For me, when I see the faces of people who came back from Lourdes walking after years in a wheelchair, or when I read the simple testimony of the children at Fatima, I can't help but think, God is closer than we think. And maybe, just maybe, the reason these miracles and apparitions happen is not to prove something to skeptics, but to remind ordinary people like you and me that heaven is real, that prayer matters, and that faith can move mountains. So the next time you hear about a miracle or apparition, don't just roll your eyes. Ask yourself, what if it's true? What if God really is trying to get my attention? Because if He is, then everything changes.